Hey everyone, welcome to Yappy Hour with Danny Prime. I'm here with Stefanie from Newberry Nibblers.
Newberry
Am I saying that
Nibblers,
right?
yep.
Okay. It's going to be a homestead focused episode here. So please tell me, I'm a big Forrest Gump fan. Please tell me you have a goat named Jenny.
I do not.
Oh man, that would have been great. Because, like Jenny with the boats and we've got 12 Jennies.
We've got 12, yes.
No.
Maybe we should do that one year. But we actually do it based off of movies or TV series or book series. So that's how we pick all of our names for the year.
That's perfect. Then you could just this is Jenny. We're like peas and carrots.
We was like peas and carrots.
Exactly. All right, let's yap. So we're going to be talking about some homesteading here. As you can see, we have similar humor. So I don't know where this conversation is going to go, but one thing.
Down the rabbit hole.
It's definitely literally there's a rabbit right here. So no hole though. So I did want to ask. I know we'll talk about the homesteading and the farming and all that stuff, but a lot of people don't realize. At least I don't think they do. From the hurricane, a lot of focus is on Western North Carolina, which.
Yes.
I feel like is appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, whole towns were wiped off the map for up there.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot happened. But I don't think a lot of people realize that storm kind of went right through the middle of South Carolina, and that's about where this is.
Yeah, our whole county was out of power. We were out for about a week, but there were people that were out a lot longer than we were.
Yeah. And as I pulled in, I saw trees down. I know we didn't just meet today. Yeah. So I know your shop got damaged.
Yes, we lost a shop and a vehicle.
Yep.
They both got totaled. Our shop we've torn down ourselves. So we rented a lift for a month. It took forever. There were so many screws. My hands are killing me. But we've been doing that. Now we're doing preventative stuff. We are clearing more trees away from the house because thank God we didn't lose our house, but we know a lot of people have had damage to the house.
Yeah.
We even lost a couple people during the hurricane here where a tree fell on them and they died.
Like in the town or in the county or whatever?
Right down the road, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And even our neighbors, they've just had trees cleared that were knocked down in the hurricane. Finally getting to it.
Yeah.
Of course, it was so cold here during the winter, and I say that, but not compared to Pennsylvania where I'm from.
Right.
But we did have a lot of 30-degree days where I was out there all bundled up, just trying to get everything done while we had to run it.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people realize. So I know we talked about a little before we started rolling, the work that goes into it and stuff. You really needed to reset before you even reset, and started doing your setting up the homestead because you just have to get stuff in order around here. And I know it's a lot of people are still in recovery, but around here it looks like some are too. So
a lot. And unfortunately for us, we not only had the damage from the hurricane, but we set up our business about a month before the hurricane hit. So we were expecting to get our goats and we needed to have an area set up for that. And we needed to get the fencing going and all this stuff. And then the hurricane hit and it's this was no longer a priority.
Yeah.
And then thankfully the guys that we get our goats from, they were fantastic. They held some goats for us for a couple months.
Okay.
So we could get everything set up.
Okay.
But not everybody has that option.
No.
I mean, sometimes it's either you buy it now or they're not going to be there.
Yeah.
But we got really lucky with the guys that we get them from.
Well, that's good. I mean, at least things kind of fell into place there. Yeah. But and by the way, if you hear some background noise, there's literally a rabbit. I was not joking.
Yes, he's in his chewy box.
Yes, he's entertaining himself right now. So, but this is the life on a homestead, right?
Yes.
This is real. This is why I don't have a studio. I like to go out and talk to people, because this is how it is in the real world, right?
He is our fertilizer for the garden. We don't eat him. Although he is very fat. But big. Yes, we take his poop and put it in the garden.
But yeah, I mean, it's, that's how it works. It's not all Yellowstone and with Heartland, like you said,
yes.
it's a lot.
Heartland is my favorite. Oh my gosh. I would base my life around that.
But and which is all glitz and glamour, right? But it's work, right? So you talk about, so we had met, let me rewind a little bit. We had met, that must have been in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
You guys came up?
No, it was in August.
August, okay. Yeah, it was late summer. Yeah. You guys came up to kind of my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And we talked about just kind of some help with how to set things up, because I've done a few LLCs and stuff.
Yep.
So obviously that was the first step. So that was in August.
Yeah, and I literally came home that day and started setting up the LLC and everything. And then October, the end of September, beginning of October,
That's when the storm hit.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, so we're now about mid-ish May. We could comfortably say mid-May. And you've had the goats for how long now?
I've had the goats since, I believe, February. I think I'm almost positive I got them on Valentine's Day.
Okay. So you're talking August to February. And you set up the LLC the day we met.
Yes. Yes.
So you guys drove home.
Yep.
Set it up.
Got our insurance, did all of our boy stuff, which the government wants to make sure we're not trafficking people. Because I'm the only employee. So
right.
I mean, like,
no,
really?
We've got that too. I'm like, you have all my information. Why do I need to give this to you 3 times? Like,
exactly. And they're like, don't forget to update it.
Right. Every year so we can get our money. Yeah. Whole other conversation.
Yes. The government really loves homesteading.
Yes. Like, oh, they do not. I mean, they do not. But so you did it that day. And so for people who aren't aware, I know a lot of people reach out to me, mostly friends, but maybe strangers now if you're watching.
Yes,
like how to set up LLCs and stuff. And
it takes a little while.
It does.
To go through.
And I think North Carolina and South Carolina are the same as that. You could do it online, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So because I know North Carolina.
Which was fantastic. I am not a big people person as far as like going out and sitting in an office filing paperwork.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate computers. I hate it.
No, I'm with you on that. So because we were able to do it online, the approval for North Carolina was actually pretty instant. So instant online, but then you had to wait for the letter. But that didn't really, I think a week or so. Did it take you that long here too?
I think I heard back like the next day or 2 days later, and then I got everything in the mail like 2 weeks later.
Okay, yeah, because we got an email within a couple of days, and then the official, but the email is still sufficient. Yes. But the bottom line is it's really easy to do. If you guys need help with it, feel free to reach out to me because I do help people do that through my consulting.
He's fantastic. I highly recommend.
But it's real easy to do. And then once you start selling and stuff, like I know for the coffee business, I had to also set up an account with the Department of Revenue. So that I can collect sales tax on their behalf. But that's also very easy to do because with the size that I am, not physically, I'm not very tall, but just the size of the business, I only have to file quarterly. So it's not like I'm doing it every month, or it's 4 times a year and online.
Yeah, and ours goes through our personal taxes because
correct.
We don't actually have revenue yet. We're spending more for the setup, the upfront costs, than we are making. And you get 3 free years of that in a way. Yes. I've talked to accountant. This is not financial advice, but typically it's 3 free. When I say 3 free years, it's like 3 years where you can show more of a loss than a gain before they consider it a hobby. And then the 4th year you want to have a profit. Yeah. Even if it's $1.
Yeah. So and I think I'm at that with Boosted Coffee now. And we weren't like everything that we were taking as an expense was a legit expense, but now we got to be a little more mindful. You know, it's like we built a little bit of a shop where I deducted part of it for like, because I have my equipment in there and storage and stuff. Like now we got to be a lot more careful because it's like, you know, I do it part-time. I do it on the side. Yeah. I'm not making 50, 60, 70 grand a year. You could with the business. I'm choosing not to. So I could do stuff like this. Exactly. Drive, 4 or 5 hours for, 1 hour talk. But you got to be a little more deliberate on your expenses once you hit that 4th year because you don't want any flags going off.
Yes, because they love to flag the small businesses.
Yeah, because it's easy revenue for them. Most small businesses won't fight back, right? Yep. So
it's like, well, whatever, here's the check.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's not worth my time.
So I know we've been friends for probably at least it's over a decade at this point, I want to say, because I know
it's close to it, through go-karting.
Through racing. And I started in 2012. I only did a few races in 2012. Like that was my starting year. I just did like the last 3. And then 2013 is when I did road tax. Now, I don't know if Johnny's her husband. I don't know if Johnny was doing.
I don't think so, but I met Johnny
in that year.
We've been married 9 years, so 10 years ago. So yeah, about 10.
So then probably the following year when I moved into the 4-stroke racing, and they combined, like that's how I met Jeremy and those guys. They combined all the
hobby classes,
and they combined them into the Briggs 206. Yes. I think that was probably 2013 or 14 would be when I met him. So when I met you also. So at least 10 years.
Yes, he was always in the front. So.
I was, yes. So
I don't know, your sticker, I Piss Excellence, just always stood out to me. Yes. And even Jason liked it, and he was like 5.
So I don't know. I have to see if I can dig up a photo. I don't know if I have because I'm like, I don't know how many phones ago that was.
Oh, I might have taken a photo.
But so that was when we were in the 4-stroke in the Briggs class. I modeled like my cart with vinyl and decals to look like the Chevy from Talladega Nights. Yes. So it's kind of like the gold on top. And it wasn't exact. It was mostly just vinyl striping. But then I had all quotes stickered all over it. Right on the nose cone, it said, I Piss Excellence.
Yes, it did.
And it was mostly probably 70, 80% kids that raced at those tracks. But yeah, so it's been at least 10 years, let's say. Maybe.
Back in our younger days.
Yeah, exactly. A whole decade ago. But
I
so
have different hopes and dreams.
yeah, well, I mean,
Literally, I completely changed my life.
Yeah, I had a different wife. So it's like, so
I was working on my second.
Yeah, exactly. So
husband, that wife.
Yeah, I mean, each their own. But so I'm on my second wife now too. But yeah, it was a completely different life back then, and like I would have never guessed. And back then I was also very corporate too. I was working for the Big Four. My wife at the time was an executive at an accounting firm, and I was living a completely different lifestyle. And
cake pop.
Cake pop business on the side that I did. Yeah, good memory. So I always had businesses.
Edibles. I mean, come on.
I always had businesses, whether it was a side business or something I was doing. And then I started Carolina in 2016, 2017 full time when I left the Ernst & Young. So. Yeah, it's funny how things change. And I guess there's a lesson there too, especially, I don't know what kind of, people are watching this, but if you're kind of young or thinking like having
it's never too late.
No, there's no such thing as a plan. There is.
Yeah.
Have an idea.
Yes.
But don't be so inflexible that you can't try something different. Because 10 years ago, if you would have told me A, that I'd be remarried, and B, that I would be like looking to homestead, like we have chickens now, and we're looking to get some land down the road and do kind of what you guys are doing here, maybe on a smaller scale. It's kind of
we only have 2 acres.
well, everyone always says that, right? It's always a smaller scale, and then
never enough room.
No, then it's a bigger scale. So I'm kind of here learning as well. I know a lot of homesteading is real popular right now with the prices of eggs, and I know they're coming down and stuff. But
it is.
But a lot of people, like I moderate some of the chicken groups that have like 1 million users and stuff, and a lot of new people are coming on because they're like,
hey, I want to
get eggs. But like what a lot of people don't realize, and I know you know this, but you might not know this, is yes, you will get free eggs.
But it's expensive.
They are not free. Like we did, and we were talking about this earlier, like we went the posh route maybe because we didn't know, right? Like
but we did when we started too, like the buy the free prefabricated chicken coop.
Yes, exactly.
And it's like they don't last though. Like we spent $500 on a little one for some chicks that we got free from the school that Jason hatched. That was like 3 roosters out of them.
They're not productive.
No.
They're just
thankfully
loud.
Like nature took out a couple of them. So
there you go.
But it's like it didn't last. We had random dogs come up in our yard because we didn't have a dog then.
Oh, okay.
And dogs are great protection, but
we just spent like $5,000 on our dog. That's for protection for stuff because he hurt his leg.
Oh.
So, which is common in big dogs.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a big dog, it's not protecting from coyotes.
Yeah.
But dogs came and like bent part of it. Then the woods just started falling apart. We went to Tractor Supply, got a dog kennel, put a roof on it.
Perfect.
It's great. They love it.
Yeah.
It's easy to clean out. The air goes through it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not hot during the summer.
Yep.
Which is.
And I noticed it was kind of in a shady spot too. So they got a little protection from the sun just naturally.
Yep.
So, and that's not to say that like you have to go that route. Like I've seen, especially on the groups I'm on, I've seen a lot of people who just like, actually my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, they, had an old playhouse that was like in the yard,
Yes.
like when they bought the house, however many years ago it's been now.
Yeah, just fence it in.
They did a fence with chicken wire and then put all hardware cloth over that, and then I think they have like some like birds, like maybe string or something, so predatory birds can't get them.
I have some chicken wire right across the top.
Exactly.
The tarp over the part where they roost.
Yep.
We just literally cut. Well, actually, we had extra wood that we had cut off with some boards to make it straight. But I zip tied them to the bars so that way that if they're bouncing on them, because they do give a little.
Yeah.
It just keeps them from popping off.
Exactly.
And they love it.
Yep. So you don't have to go that route. Like I know our coop was, and so we bought a pre-made coop. Like, and I'm not paid by them. I should be for all the advertising you do. I think the brand is Omelet. I think it's called Eglu, like, but it's spelled EGLO or something like that. They're a European company, and I'll tell you, this coop is amazing because it's like I guess it's plastic mostly, which I know a lot of people, especially homesteaders, or not all homesteaders, but they like to be a little more natural and stuff.
Yeah.
But it works for us. We are not on a farm. We're not in a neighborhood. We just live on the road, but we do have houses around us, so it works really well. And our coop is in the run, so we have a 6x9 run, and I want to say it's about 6 feet tall. So we just hardware cloth the whole thing. Put the coop in there, but it's elevated, so they still have the ground
Underneath,
space of 6x9, and it's been great. We put a tarp over the roof, which helped to keep some weather out. In the winter, which it doesn't get terribly cold down here, but it can. You can get those little streaks, and I'm sure here too. We're not that far away. Like as far as the crow flies, it's not a whole different climate. I went to like Family Dollar, Dollar General. It was one of those. I remember which one. I got a heavy duty shower liner, clear shower liner.
That works so well.
Put it on the north wall.
Yep.
With zip ties.
And then they're still getting the sun because
It's
a
the
lot of
other
people
way.
don't realize that they lay eggs based on the amount of sun they get. That's why they stop in the winter. And some people, they supplement the light. I don't.
We don't
I
either.
let them get that break.
Correct. We go the natural route too.
Yeah, but the clear liners.
Yeah.
So that way they're still getting sun.
Yeah.
We let ours out. So ours is just like the heavy duty cloth from Harbor Freight.
Okay.
And it works really well. We don't supplement with heat either.
We don't either.
It doesn't get that cold. There are some that are like a little more sensitive.
Yes.
We don't have those. Ours are hot or cold hardy.
What breed do you have?
Oh gosh, I have Americanas.
Okay.
I have a Barred Rock. I just got some Jersey Giants. They're my favorite.
Okay.
They're black.
Yeah.
And it actually helps with hawks. So
do they
hawks,
think they're crows?
Yes.
Ah,
they
okay.
hate crows.
Yes.
If you get black chickens,
Then they think they're crows.
Yes, they think they're crows walking around through chickens.
Yeah.
However, my Americanas are the stupidest.
I don't think chickens in general are very intelligent.
Some of them are obviously more intelligent than others.
True. But they're on the bottom of the food chain for a
they're
reason.
way down there. And like, I don't think they have a brain cell between the 5 that I have.
Oh, wow. Okay. So they're really bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're up here on our porch all the time. I hate it. It's the only one that does it.
Yeah.
And Johnny hit one with the back door the other day where he went out the back door and it was up there and said, there's nothing here. And
yeah.
But yeah, they're fantastic. But yeah, we don't put anything in. I mainly make sure that the water doesn't freeze up. And I actually have, I think it's 3 gallons, like this big.
Okay.
It plugs in and it keeps it warm. You don't have to worry about electrocuting them. Some stuff submerge. And a lot of the reviews said it ended up shocking either their livestock or their birds, and they just they won't use it. They won't drink anymore. And I'm like, that's a huge problem. Like if they're not drinking water, like you have issues.
Yeah, because you don't want to be hand taking care of. I don't know how you call it. Hand tendering to them.
Yes.
All of this
shoving
stuff.
water down their
Yeah,
throat.
like that's time consuming. Like because we have, I think it's a 3-gallon water, and we just have it elevated so it doesn't get all nasty.
Yeah.
And so what I do is like on the really cold nights, like there were some nights this past winter, it was in the teens.
Yes.
But once they're up in their coop, and they put themselves up at night, they go in. We have an automatic door, so I don't have to go out in the night. In the morning, open and close it. So, and that's on a timer. Battery, because we don't have electricity in our
and they do put themselves up at night.
100%.
Like, I don't think I have a fantastic story. When I was working in dental, the dentist was watching some chickens for their neighbor, and his wife like volunteered them. And they're like, yeah, you just put them up at night. Go pick them up. They let the owners pick them up and put them in the kennel.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, we went over there 30 minutes. We were chasing these birds around the yard. It's like I was taking off my flip flop and trying to like hurt them. And I'm like, they go in at night. Like once it gets dark, they go home.
They do.
Like every time.
Yep.
Unless something weird's going on.
Yeah.
And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. So the next night he waited until it was dark. He's like, that was great. Like, yeah, they put themselves to bed. Like,
so they're dumb, but they're not dumb.
Yes.
Like I want to say like they're dumb, but they're not stupid. Right.
That's probably a better way to say really well at
no, and they just go where they're safe, where they feel comfortable. Yes. And there's been times, so we free range. It's a couple hours a day. I usually do it when I'm home. I let them out in the morning, and I could like look out the window and see them. And then same thing like before sunset. And there's been times where I got caught up, or maybe with dinner, or maybe I'm helping the kids with homework or something, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to put the chickens up. And usually I bring them in, like I get a little thing of food, I shake it, and they follow me in anyway.
Yes.
But there's
sunflower seeds.
Yes, they love all that stuff. Yeah. But like I'll look outside, like, chickens, and then I'm like, oh, it's a little dark. They're already in the coop, but I still come out with their little snack just to give them. Yeah. And so like 2 or 3 of them will be. Yeah, I do. 2 or 3 of them will be in the run, and then 1 or 2 might go in because we have 5 right now. Might go into the coop, but as soon as they come out, they get their little snack. They hang out for a little bit, but once I close them in there, they're like comfortable. But they will 100%. Or if like the neighbor, again, we're not right on top of each other because we have over like. Not quite 2 1/4 acres, like 2 1/10 or whatever. So we're kind of spread out, but if they hear a mower and they're out, like they'll just go right to the run. Like yeah, they'll just go right to the run. Like so they kind of know.
They're scared of it.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of predators by us, and obviously every area has something.
Yes.
But we don't I've never seen a raccoon by us. I have seen possums in the yard.
Yep.
I know generally they don't bother chickens, but they can if they're desperate.
We had a baby possum and he could get through our kennel wires. So I had to put chicken wire on the inside on the bottom. He killed 3 of our babies and didn't even eat them.
Like, as a baby? Or like as a juvenile, let's say?
They were like this big.
No, but the possum was not an adult?
The possum was a baby, yeah.
Wow, and was still killing chickens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was getting in there and
because the chickens were so little, I just had the bars down lower. Well, I guess they were knocking each other off when they were getting scared.
They're like fighting for jockeying
like,
for position.
Your turn.
Talking about pecking order, right?
Yeah. Like, all right, we're sacrificing you tonight. So
your possum dinner.
Yeah.
Well, you said it wasn't
It
eating.
didn't eat them.
So it's for sport.
Killed them. Yeah.
Almost.
And then I guess it scared him and he left.
Huh.
Weirdest thing, but we know it was a possum because, for one, I caught him in there a couple times when I went to go shut the door. But we have a camera out there as well that goes off whenever there's motion. But we also have armadillos here. They don't do anything.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
One bounced off our dog. I guess they scared each other. And our dog was going after another one. That one ran across, and it was like a cartoon.
Did you see it?
It was the best thing. I almost died. They slammed into each other, and they both kind of rolled a little bit because the armadillo was like this big.
Yeah, they've got some mass.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fantastic. Then they both took off in different directions. I'm like,
that's
all right,
funny.
cool. Yeah.
That's funny.
It was such a cartoon.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it on camera. You saw it. That's even funnier that you saw it.
Yeah, we were putting them up at night, the chickens up at night. And right down the power line. Dog took off. And
that's funny.
It was fantastic.
That's funny. Yeah, so we don't have, I know there's coyotes, I'm pretty sure, in the area. I hear them, but I've never seen anything around us. There are some of the neighbors' dogs sometimes will kind of wander from their property, but I will say most of our neighbors are really good with keeping their animals on their property. So I haven't had any issues there. But we do, I'm constantly hearing hawks, but we haven't had any issues with that. And I know a lot of the predators that we probably need to worry about are more nocturnal. So that's why I typically let them out about an hour to hour and a half before sunset, and then I put them up. So usually they're safe. But we haven't really had a problem. We don't have a rooster. I know we talked about that before, like just because
they're mean.
Well, they're mean, and if you're not providing for me, I'm sorry. It's like I don't need you on my property.
You're not hatching eggs. Do not get a rooster.
No, we're not hatching.
They just eat all of your feed.
Right.
Literally, they won't really forage. I mean, ours goes out, but he just sits there at the feeder and eats.
Yeah.
He can damage the hens. He can cause them to be stressed.
Yep.
Which affects the eggs. Sometimes you'll get red spots in them. Stuff like that. But yeah, no, I don't recommend having a rooster. We have one only because I haven't called him yet.
Oh, okay.
We called his brothers, and he was the low man, and I guess they were pecking his tail feathers out. And Johnny's like, no, he's not a rooster, and I'm like, sure he's a rooster.
Yeah.
Sure enough, he's a rooster.
Yeah.
But then we had a hen that went through, I guess, the change, and she started crowing. And I didn't even know that was a possibility.
I've read about it. I haven't experienced it.
I was like, what's going on? I had to look it up.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it's common whenever they stop laying eggs and they're doing the hormonal changes. I guess we grow hair on our face or whatever, and they start crowing.
Women go premenopause and hens grow. I guess whatever. It's all different, but it's nature, right? So.
But yeah, so he stopped when she did. So I guess she was higher up than he was. So I was like,
so she was the mama hen and taking over the rooster side. So
exactly.
Interesting. Yeah, we haven't had that happen. I know one of our neighbors has a rooster, but they're like probably quarter mile, maybe a little further away. But I hear it once in a while. Yeah. But I've seen I haven't seen it up close, just driving through because you can see back. It's not a huge coop. So I can't imagine they have a lot. Because I also, from what I've read, the hen to rooster ratio you need quite a few hens. You can't just have like 3 hens and a rooster. There'll be some damage there.
Yes.
You need almost
they are mounting them all the time.
Yeah, you need 7 to 10 depending on the breeds. From what I've read. Yeah. And so we have, and I think we might have messaged a little bit when we were looking into getting the chickens, and we went with the Americanas also. Yeah. I'm not 100% convinced they're pure Americanas. I think it might be an Easter egg or Americana mix. But they're pretty hardy birds. They've done well in the cold. They've done well in the heat.
Yep. They're usually pretty quiet.
Yes, they're not very. We get the egg song, but I feel like that's standard for hens.
Some breeds are quiet. Some are loud.
Yeah.
We have a mix. Roosters don't just crow in the morning.
Right.
It's not like TV.
No.
They do not just crow when the sun comes up.
No.
They crow all day long.
All day.
And they teach it to other ones. Like 2 houses down, they had a rooster, and he just crowed all the time.
Oh.
So when we got our chickens were like, oh, ours only do it in the morning. No, they crow back and forth.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not quiet.
Yeah.
Just nix the rooster.
Yeah. I mean, unless you want to get into the hatching side of things, which I do see a lot of people on some of the groups I'm on. They have the incubators. They're not incubating a lot of eggs, maybe 10 or a dozen. Some are even less, maybe 5 or 6.
Or they'll sell them.
But yeah, they'll sell them as a fertilized egg. But that's a whole other ball game. So I feel like you can make more money on that side in a way, because you're not raising a live chicken at that point, right?
Yeah.
But I also feel like it's more work. So I don't know if your net profit's going to be, if you value your time, I don't know that you're going to make
it might not be worth it.
Money. I don't think it is personally.
I'd rather buy them and then already be sexed, and I know I'm getting all hens.
Correct.
Like, every time I bought like straight run or from a local farmer or something like that, I've always gotten a ton of roosters.
Yeah, well, because they don't want them either.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, oh, here comes a young lady. I'm going to sell her 3 roosters and 4 hens instead of 7 hens. I mean, it doesn't have to just be ladies, so I'm not being sexist. But a lot of times I feel like those farmers can also see newer homesteaders or newer chicken, tenders, whatever you want to call us. Chicken tenders, ironically. They kind of see that coming, so
plus you're going to get ones like if you hatch your own. We had one that had a crossbeak. We called her Scissors. That's what it looks like.
Yep.
They do fine. They tell you to call them when they're young. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Just because there was nothing wrong with her, and she was growing and she was eating and she was laying.
So if they're eating.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have to keep the food filled up. And we intentionally lowered our feeder so she could eat out the top.
Okay.
Stuff like that. And our waters, we don't have like chicken water, the things that they sell. I actually got a goat feed trough.
Okay.
And we hung it up, and that's what we pour water into.
Oh, okay.
Works great. They can all drink out of it.
Mm-hmm.
There is a pecking order, and if they
100%.
don't like you, you're not going to eat as much.
Right.
So we have food different places. And stuff
okay.
Like that.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah. How many do you have total now?
We have 20 right now.
20. Okay. And 1 rooster.
Yes.
Okay. So 20. So 19 and 1 or 20 and 1?
19 and 1.
Okay. So 19 and 1. Yeah. So we're down to 5. So we've just got literally a quarter of what you've got. But our hens, and I don't want to this is wood, right? I don't want to jinx it. Yeah. They seem to get along well. So we had one that was kind of like the mother hen, and that's the one that died last summer. And for a while there, like when we would let them free range, she would kind of keep them in the area.
Yeah. And kind of heard it all.
Yeah, in a way, So
she was the chicken tender.
She was the tender, yeah. So they would kind of go off. They'd go off, but they would never really stray too far. And then I noticed the days following, I'd look out my front window and they're on the driveway and now they never went near any of the road or
oh man, ours get all the way down.
Oh, see, ours don't. They're not that brave. But I was like, and it was a black chicken, which again kind of helped for the hawks and stuff. And Cammy, our youngest, so she was probably 8 at the time, called her Blackie. And so we were like, oh, Blackie's gone now. They're all. But I feel like there's sort of a reestablished order, but there's never been a pecking injury. Again, I'm double knocking. Pecking injury, and I've never seen them go at each other. Even when the food comes out, like if I do scraps to bring them in from free ranging, it's just a metal tray, I guess, something fancy. I'll put it down, and they all go around it.
They remember.
Well, and if you put a little bit of feed in there and I shake it, they're like they beeline it to me. Yep.
Oh man.
So they're trained in a way. But when I put that down in the run, they all go around it. There's never a fight. There's never a push. They all go around it. So now I don't know how long that's going to.
You get more, it will not be.
Well, I'm not.
It's like kids. Like the first one was great.
Yeah.
Like, you thought everything was cool. Then the second one's like the Hellraiser.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any biological children, but I have 3 stepchildren. I went 0 to 3.
Yes.
I didn't even get to, go through the stages.
Push you off into the deep end.
Like, hey, and here's COVID. Yeah. So let's be inside with kids, which actually I love looking back. I mean, I don't love what happened to some people, because, a lot of people did die, regardless of what you think, people did die.
But it does give you that time together.
But oh my God, it was so nice. It was so nice.
Yeah. See, I was still working in healthcare. Well,
so you were.
It didn't matter what you were doing.
No.
Which, granted, I was working in dental. We closed for a couple of weeks. Myself and one of the ladies in the front, the dentist, we went in twice a week for emergencies, stuff like that. And then we went back to work, and it was like, all right, well, school's still not
doing anything.
They're still doing packets or whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't even have computers then. But so my son, thankfully, my boss at the time was fantastic. He let me bring him if I needed to from school.
Okay.
Johnny was working for Dominion Energy, so they were on like 2 weeks where they were working from home, 2 weeks where they were working on site.
Okay.
That way, if one person on the team got it, the other team didn't get it.
So
there was always somebody.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. So we did we had stuff that we could work with. My mom also watched Jason, but COVID is what got me homesteading.
What I was going to say, I think that's where the homesteading kind of not started. It's just always been homesteaders, but that's where it kind of trickled into more of like the working folks.
Yes.
You worked, I work, and it's kind of like,
that was my push. I mean, we had chickens, but we didn't really do anything with them.
Right.
It's just they hatched them in school.
Right.
Then it was like, all right, well, we can't find stuff at the grocery store. Well, now it's like our garden needs to be bigger.
Right.
We now have goats. These are dairy goats specific to be able to milk them. Closest thing to cow's milk you can get. And goat's milk's actually
easier to digest
Yes.
than cow's
It's
milk.
supposed to be like better for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So typically, what I've read says that you can digest goat's milk in about 30 minutes. Cow's milk can take 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
So, and I have a little finicky with cow's milk. I don't really like to drink it myself. So I'm tempted to see how this goes. We only have babies right now. So
yeah. So
we're not milking yet.
But you're working towards that,
yes.
right? So
it's like I want to be as self-sufficient as possible.
Yeah.
We actually bought meat chickens.
Okay.
Same thing you buy in the store.
Yeah.
The ones that they're ready to go in 10 weeks. And started butchering them ourselves.
Okay.
Johnny, bless his heart, he funds it and he does all the manual labor for like building stuff. But he does not enjoy the gory stuff. So that's all me.
Yeah, I don't know how I would do with that.
It's
like I'm good, but I'm not.
Come down. Next time.
Next time you call, I'll have to take a run and see if I vomit. No, I don't think I will. Like I'm okay with blood, but certain blood will be like if I'm watching it on TV, I'm like this. But then like there's like when the chicken died, I'm like all right, I picked it up. But like I'm weird. I don't know.
Well,
we've talked about meat birds.
Blood.
We have to take the feathers all off. I'm like, how do you do that?
So I actually skin mine.
Okay, that's even honestly, the next level. Like,
yes, working in surgery made it easier. It's like, you slip here a couple places, and it's like, all right, there it comes off like a glove. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah, we have different backgrounds. I don't think go-karting would translate well to that or coffee. So,
well, look at it as like you're cleaning out the oil and you're pulling all the mechanical parts apart.
I gotta pull the drain plug. Is that in the back?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Keep that hanging over the table because that still goes.
Yeah.
But. And keep your chickens locked up because my layers will eat them as I'm pulling the intestines and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They are
chickens
huge cannibals.
They're dinosaurs in small form.
Yes. They're very and they're aggressive about it too. Like they're like really want it.
Okay.
But it's actually really easy. Johnny hated it. We've gotten better, so we've graduated to the killing cone this last time.
Okay.
Which is great. Helps keep the blood going out. That way it doesn't leak into the meat.
Okay.
But the first time, we just cut their heads off with an axe.
That's what I always thought. But
it's really hard because, of course, they're freaking out. So when you pick them upside down, they chill out.
Yes, like catatonic-ish.
Yes. It's like when they flip the sharks over.
Yeah.
All the blood rushes through their head. They chill out. And they don't even make noise. But then it's like they're still pulling their head in and out. So I'm like, all right, Johnny, you hold the feet. I'm going to hold the head, and I'll do the axe. Well, then you cut their head off, nerves and all that.
Right.
So it's like flinging blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I think I scarred Johnny. He was so traumatized. And you have to butcher them.
Yeah.
Because they'll eat themselves to death.
Yeah.
They have a whole different feed schedule. But he's like, we're never doing this again. But I finally made the meat. And he's like, all right. And he's like, this meat is so much better than the grocery store. It is. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Even though it's the exact same chicken raised supposedly the exact same way because they don't forage.
Yeah.
They're huge. They get fat really fast.
And then
their legs cannot support their weight.
They get too big. I've seen pictures like their heads are all over their legs. They're just sitting there because they don't live long, right?
No.
They're would you say 10 weeks about?
10 to 12 weeks
so
tops.
2.5 to 3 months max.
Yes.
Yeah.
We usually butcher at like 8 weeks.
Okay.
But they will break their legs because they are so fat. You can only feed them for 12 hours a day because they will eat. They literally sit on the feeder and eat.
And just
they will give themselves heart attacks, which we had a couple do that anyway.
Can't be perfect.
Exactly. The first time. So the last time we actually butchered, all 25 made it to butchering day that we bought.
Okay.
Before that, I think we lost like 5 each time.
Okay.
Some of it's like a day after we get them, just from shipping.
Right.
But I mean, it
happens.
Yeah, it's kind of normal.
Yeah.
We had snakes one year.
Oh, okay.
He just got in there and he loved all the chicks. He just took a nap right there with like 3 little lumps.
Oh.
I'm like, you're dead. But I'm not a big fan of killing the snakes.
Right. Well, because
black snakes.
Well, they do their job. Yeah. But sometimes you got to make a decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you found your easy meal.
Yeah.
You're gonna keep coming back.
Yeah. Even if you relocate them like 10 miles away.
Yes.
I think 10 miles is what they say.
I'm not sure.
But I still feel like
I'm not putting that in
once the word's out. No.
Yeah, I'm not trying with
like I'm not getting 10 miles away, buddy, because my trunk is not an option.
No.
I was going to ask you a question about the meat bird. Now I forgot. But do you freeze them? Are you selling them? Are you doing a combo, or like are you not quite there yet?
We have to make a decision. Them for us.
So you're doing what you need to eat. Okay.
We do 25 at a time. In fact, I think I should probably do some now, but with everything else going on, I'm just not there. My favorite is to do them in the fall. And I just learned this past fall.
because of course, right after the hurricane, I had chicks come in like a week later.
Yeah.
Thankfully, our power was back up. And we were able to get the brooder up and going. But I not only got our meat chickens, I got our laying chickens.
Oh.
So they grew up over winter and started laying in the spring.
Oh.
So instead of getting them in the spring, they start laying in the fall, and then they stop because
of the winter.
Sun.
Daylight. Yep.
Yep. So it's been great, and I'm like, this is how I should do it all the time.
Yep.
Just kind of learning from that. Normally, we got them in the spring.
Yeah.
Almost every time we've got them in the spring.
Well, and I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you have a different opinion, but like I feel like a lot of people get them in the spring. Because I'm noticing on the groups too, because they don't have either the ability to keep them warm in the winter. Like, a lot of people are like, I don't want to bring them in my house.
No.
Or whatever. I mean, but some people do, but I'm like, oh my gosh.
We've done it. Yeah. We've done it.
But like, we have a garage, so we had like our brooder, not brooder, we didn't, but like, well, I guess kind of like the heat where they were, when they were little, because we got them at 2 days old. Yeah. We were able to keep them in the garage, remove them to like, almost like a playpen for kids kind of, when they got a little bigger. And then they were able to go outside by like March, April, because we got them late winter. So it wasn't fall. But I feel like a lot of people are afraid to look into getting them in like October, November, because they're, and it's fine if you don't have that capacity to keep them warm, because they do need a lot of heat when they're little. Then wait till the spring. But if you ever notice the shortages, like even like Tractor Supply, it always happens like February to April because people are all running to get their chicks. But if you pick them up in the fall, you're golden. And if you have a way to keep them, like you said, come like February, March, once that daylight saving switches and the season starts switching, you're going to have layers by the time most people are just getting their chicks.
Exactly.
And
so
that's
you
the way
have
to
that
do it.
whole summer. And you're not wasting a whole year before they start really producing for you. Because it is expensive. I mean, I just got chicken feed. It's like $16 a bag. Yeah,
easy.
And that's for the layers. Like, it's more for the chick start.
Yep.
It's more if you get medicated chick start, which I don't do.
Yeah, we didn't do that either.
Yeah, the reason I did the meat chickens was because I want to know what's in them. We don't feed them medicated stuff. We don't give them antibiotics. We don't give them steroids. We don't do anything like that.
Yeah. Neither do we. It's nice and natural. I just go to the store and buy eggs at that point. It's way easier.
The only thing that we do is we will worm them. The layers. Usually in the spring and in the fall.
Okay.
Right at the wet seasons.
Okay.
Other than that, like fall pumpkin's a natural dewormer.
Yeah.
And our chickens love it.
Okay.
So we grow some pumpkins and just toss them in.
Throw them in there, yeah.
Or after Halloween, which our pumpkins usually last until almost Christmas. I think I throw them in the coop whenever we have our Christmas decorations out.
Oh, okay.
So it's like,
Christmas time, here's your pumpkin.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, we got to get those pumpkins off the porch.
Whoops. I've done it.
Yeah. So we crack them open and give them that. We actually give our dog pumpkin as a dewormer. Okay. Because it's one of the few things that is really good for them.
Yeah.
And he loves it. But other than that, we don't really give them anything. Any medications. Now the goats are a whole different story.
Yeah.
So like if you think you've done chickens and it's great and you think you're ready for the next step, please do your research. There's so much more once you start getting into actual livestock animals. And they are livestock. People are wanting to use them as dogs and bring them in the house and all this stuff.
I've seen that, yeah.
Please don't do that. That's not how they're set up.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure ours would absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
They all did. The guys that we get them from, they bring the babies in for like the first couple of days, maybe up to a week or two, just because you're giving them milk and stuff often. But other than that, they need to be outside. They need to be with more goats.
Yeah, very social.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're herd animals. They have to be with other goats or other type of livestock. And donkeys are the same way. I see people getting miniature donkeys and they're only getting one.
Right.
It's like, you can't do that. Not unless you have something else. But yeah. Goats are a whole different story.
Yeah.
I have so many medications on hand. Some stuff you can only get from a vet. Goats, you don't have to do the rabies vaccine, which is why we got goats.
Oh, okay.
Because in South Carolina, you have to be a licensed vet to do the rabies vaccine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you get a donkey, you can't do it. You have to pay somebody to come out to your property and do it for you.
Okay.
Goats don't have that. So I have like syringes. I probably look like some type of drug dealer over here. I have huge syringes.
Why do you have so many syringes? So many Amazon orders of syringes.
Yes, exactly. We got vitamin B injectables for whenever they get sick, stuff like that. They get dewormer. Goats have worms all the time.
Yeah.
They always have parasites. You have to keep the numbers down.
Yeah.
So you're just monitoring it. I have a microscope. So that way I can look at their poop to see how many eggs they have. You don't have to do that. You can take it, you can drop it off at your vet. They will do that for you.
We just have chickens for now. We're good.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
But yeah,
it's it's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chickens are great. They're great starter animals.
I agree. It's like they're the marijuana of homesteading, right? They're your gateway
drug
to get into.
And it only grows. Like,
yeah.
I want pigs so bad.
Yeah. So
because I love bacon.
Well,
like I'm not raising these for anything but to eat.
Right. No, this is turning into like a working farm in the sense of not
on my 2 acres now.
Thing. Well, yeah.
We only have 2 acres.
But you're doing it to be sustainable.
Yes. So I'm not buying so much at the grocery store or during COVID when you couldn't go to the grocery store, you couldn't find anything.
Stuff. Yeah. Or like eggs. We touched on it earlier. Like a lot of people went out and bought these chickens because eggs are $5, $6, $7 a dozen. But you're spending. I mean, even it's a joke on some of the some of the chicken groups I'm on, where it's like, oh, I got my first $2,000 egg.
Yes.
Like you're not a joke. Really like, saving money. And especially if there are some people who will go out and they'll get hens that are laying age. Yeah. And you relocate them.
But they're even more expensive. So you're taking your $4 chick that you bought, or however much, because some of the fancy chickens are more. And then it's like, okay, well, they're almost ready to lay, or they're starting to lay, and it's like now they're like $30 a chick. Right.
But on the flip side, you're not raising it. You're not doing the starter feed. You're not like we have to go out and buy
doing the lamps. We
have to do a tub, with the lamps. Then we move them into the. Now those things weren't super expensive, but it adds up. And the good news is now, and I'm sure you're finding this as you're adding on, you have it. Yes. Now I have it.
Yes.
So we decided
to do a one-time startup investment.
Right. So it's a $2,000 egg, but then once these eggs are hens are no longer laying. Yeah. And if we decide to go, with another small batch, like we have that stuff. That $2,000 egg is now going to be maybe a $200 egg. Yep. Or maybe I'm making that up. It might be more, but it's not going to be that huge. Yeah. So if you're thinking about it, that investment is very much upfront. Yeah. It's ongoing in the sense of care and upkeep, but as far as the infrastructure, which is a fancy word to use for like a chicken coop, but as far as the infrastructure goes, it's a lot of upfront stuff. And like same with like your goats, like you just didn't throw them in the yard, you built a whole fenced in area.
Not like a Little House on the Prairie where you just go out and like tie them on a rope.
No, get on your horse and bring them back. Yes, none of that. No, it's you have to build. So
there's Janie out there tied to the tree.
Right. So like good callback. I love it. But yeah, it's like that first like milk gallon or whatever. Yes. It might be like I'm making it up again, but like a $3,000 thing of milk. I don't know. Well,
it's gonna be way more than that.
We don't need to discuss exact finances,
especially if you have a barn.
Right. But the next time around, everything's here. Yep. Right. Obviously, you have to do little repairs and stuff. Just time.
Yeah,
time makes it. But your initial investment is, and that's how farms start, right? Because it's that upfront, and then once it's all there, that's when you start making money. And I know you're not doing it specifically for that.
Yeah, I'm hoping with Newberry Nibblers, I'm hoping to like pay for their feed bills. Yeah, it's not something I want to get rich off of. It's something I want. Kids are so attached to electronics these days. Yeah, they don't know where their food comes from. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to be like, here's my chicken and I slit its throat like incredible. I'm not going to do anything like that. Like,
right. That'd be cool. That'd be funny though.
Yeah, my son would love it. But,
you might lose half the crowd. But.
Yeah, exactly. I'll probably get PETA called on me.
Well, yeah, geez, gotta be careful these days.
Exactly. But it's like, here's a baby goat. Mm-hmm. Take them to birthday parties and the kids can play with them. And when you run with them, they get so excited. Yeah. Have the bottle feeding super cute. Their little nose scrunches and everything. In fact, one of them will be due for its bottle. You're welcome to.
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah.
But it's like it gets them that exposure, especially living so close to Columbia. You can't have a goat in the city, right? It's not possible. Yeah. For one, the HOAs.
Well, yeah, you can't do anything with those. No. I mean, maybe some of the bigger ones with bigger land might allow a chicken or two, but
definitely not goats in your HOA.
I mean, a chicken's even pushing it. Yeah. But, so we started talking about the business side of things. We talked about like homesteading in general. You touched a little bit on it with the Newberry Nibblers and like bringing the goats to like places. Yes. So, and I've been seeing you post about like I guess bringing them for like what parties?
Yeah,
like,
birthday
did you do
parties.
yoga? Did you say yoga?
We did. We took 6 babies to goat yoga for teacher appreciation week.
Okay.
And it was just a school down the road, about 15 minutes, and it was so much fun. The teachers loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of yoga studios are doing this now, especially on the West Coast. Like it's
Yeah.
a huge thing, goat yoga.
Okay. I mean, I've heard of it, so
yeah,
never seen it.
it's different. They change up the routine, which I'm not a big yoga person. I need to just to be able to be more flexible.
Yeah.
However, I am also very lazy, so I have other things going on. Cinnamon.
Rabbits eating, in case you're wondering.
Rabbit's shaking his food out.
Cats chilling, rabbits eating. Yeah. Welcome to homestead life, right?
This is the life. But they changed up the routine so that way there's more like downward dog stuff where the goats will be able to like jump on them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But of course, these baby goats, they're like toddlers. Everything goes in their mouth.
Oh, okay.
Everything, shoelaces, any of my pants that have strings, they're chewing on them.
Okay.
My shirt, my hair. In fact, I can't even have my hair up like this. I braid it.
Oh, okay.
And then the other day I was looking at it, I'm like, is this split ends or from the goats chewing on it? Like, I can't tell. Either way, I need a haircut. But
same.
Way low on the priority list. But people seem to like it. We did a Mother's Day thing where that was what the mom wanted. Of course, it rained. We set up a tent and everything, portable fencing and stuff, and they loved it. It was great. Just kind of gets them out there and exposed, and any questions they have, I always answer.
Yeah.
To the best of my ability, and I always refer them to we got them from Goat Daddy's Farm.
Okay. They're
an animal sanctuary in Elgin here.
Oh, okay.
So they do the dairy part. That's one of their businesses, but they also take in all these animals that need some type of rescue.
Okay.
In fact, 3 of the goats that we have out there, the adults, we got from them. They needed rehoming.
Oh, okay.
So we got them for free.
Oh, okay.
They're useless. They're fixed males, so they just go around and eat. But we needed something to go in with our male when we get them, our breeder.
Okay.
Because goats can't be by themselves. So we were like, this is perfect. We only wanted 1 male that we're going to breed because you don't want, they pee on their heads.
Okay.
So when they go into rut. So that's their, hey, look at me. I peed on myself.
Oh.
That is their thing.
Everyone's got a thing.
Yeah. To get their female's attention, they piss on themselves.
Okay.
But I was like, well, we'll put him in there. That way he's not by himself. We don't have to worry about him mating with the girls unexpectedly.
Right.
So yeah, we got them. They're rehoming a couple other ones, some of their older ones that they are no longer breeding and milking.
Okay.
And then they're selling off the babies of their actual milkers, which are all dairy goat registered, good milking lines, stuff like that.
Okay.
But
so any plans to do anything with the milk? Like you think, or like, is that more of, again, like we talked about before, like where it's for you?
Yeah, originally that's all I wanted it for. And of course it's hard sell for Johnny because of the upfront costs.
Right.
Like, okay, well, I'm going to spend all this money for just us for like 3 goats. Well, I was only going to get 3 goats this year. We have 10.
I was saying more than 3 out
We
there.
have 10. Like it's like chicken math, only worse.
Yeah.
So we have that. I do want to look into getting approved to sell the milk.
Okay.
You have to go through the process, get a certification, of course, to be able to sell it. But like we've talked about before, it is easier to digest.
Yeah.
People that have milk allergies, some of them can drink goat's milk.
Okay.
Because of that.
You can come over here.
He might be allergic.
Yeah, so don't be offended if I like animals, but some cats bother me, so I probably won't be very petty. But I'll give you a little pet since you came over.
He's like, but love me.
Very nosy, I know.
He thinks he's a dog. But yeah.
He's like, okay, I'm getting down now. You're no fun.
If you have a homestead, try not to get useless animals.
Yeah.
We have 3 indoor cats. They're useless.
Yeah.
Like one of them might get flies if they get in the house.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all he does.
Who needs companion animals?
Yeah,
we need some working animals here.
Exactly. So I was like, yeah, no more useless animals. No more indoor useless animals.
Yeah.
So he's, whenever he passes or any other one passed, that's
like
all.
you're not getting another pet. Yeah.
We might get a barn cat.
Okay.
There's a rescue here in Little Mountain that actually gives you them for free for barn cats. So they're all spayed and neutered and everything like that. So we're looking into that when we get the barn.
Okay.
is still in its foundation.
You have a long list, but stuff's getting done, man. Since I've been here, we've gotten 2 dump trucks worth of dirt. HVAC people here, like, stuff's happening around here. It's all happening around us, but it's a working place, man.
Yeah, our tree clearing guy is here.
Oh yeah, he's over there too. Yep. So
he's getting our foundation for cement ready. So,
yeah.
It's been busy.
But I feel like, I mean, obviously some of this from the storm, so it's just doing it again. But I also feel like just in the nature of homesteading, there's always like you may have some downtime, but I can't imagine it's a lot.
Winter's my big downtime for homesteading. I do try to learn like a new skill every year, just because it's quiet. Your garden's not going, or if it is, it's the cooler stuff. So it's not a lot. We have a huge garden during the summer normally, but this summer it was making apple cider vinegar from scratch. Okay. So it was really neat. I ordered a mother from E2a, and I did one batch with that. Okay. And then the other one I just used apple scraps. Okay. And I wanted to see how it went. They both turned out really good. That's pretty cool. It's like so easy to make. That's cool. So that was your thing that you'd learned? Did you learn canning at some point, or is that? I do a lot of canning. Okay, because I thought I saw something posted about. Yep. Green beans is usually what I can the most. Okay. Because we get tons of green beans. Okay. Still not the same as like picking them and like sautéing them. Right. But it's okay. It's way better than the cans. Well, yeah. But yeah, I do that. I've been canning beets. Okay. And I'm Pennsylvania Dutch, so we make red beet eggs. Okay. So it's like pickled eggs, but with red beets. Okay. Way better than pickled eggs. Interesting. But I also am working on some fermenting stuff. Okay. So Johnny fermented some pickles last year. I wasn't brave enough to try those because he doesn't do a lot of research on it. Oh, he just went for it, and you're like, I'm not gonna. Yeah, you do it, but don't count on me to taste it. He's like, I checked the pH, and I'm like, what about like the taste? I don't want to taste something that's terrible. Right. But I have some lemons going. That's supposedly really good. Okay. You actually eat the peels once it's fermented. Oh, okay. And then you can cook with the pulpy stuff that's left over. So they're still going. Otherwise, I'd be like, yeah, let's try some. Probably not on camera. We'll keep that separate and then put a review later. Like, hey, I'm alive. It's like, look, we're trying this for the first time. No, I mean, it would be fun though, probably. But but they're not quite ready yet. Okay. But then it's like I have some seed starts that I haven't put out in the garden yet. Okay. They're on my rabbit cage. Yeah, I see them up there. But yeah, I try to do just a little bit during the winter. This winter, like I said, we were doing tear down for the shop, hurricane cleanup. So not a whole lot happened. Put some of that behind. So. Yep.